This is it. This is it. Hello. Hello. This is it. We've started. We've started. We can't go back now. We're too far deep. Hello, I'm Warren. It's the stream of Monday. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone had a good weekend. Why am I saying this through clenched teeth? I don't understand. What was the issue? Why did I get suddenly so aggressive about it? But I do hope everyone did have a nice weekend. Because now it's the week again. And it's time to continue another week. More of the hustle. I'm officially a week removed from heading on over to New York City. Nice place. And I feel good about it. I don't know. This is what it is. But no, a lovely weekend here over here. When I say lovely, I mean kinda. It was kind of miserable. What was it, Sunday? When I think it was really miserable around here, which was fine. I caught up on a bunch of wrestling is what I did. I ended up catching up on a bunch of professional wrestling this weekend because I was, in New York last week. Got around to doing the Dynamite review. Got around to finishing up the Best of Super Juniors tournament, and caught up with some CMLL as well. That I had been behind. I had been behind for a while. So, I'm not entirely caught up, but I'm getting there. Got some really good stuff. Got some really good stuff in there, and went to see the back rooms. It's not the back rooms. It's just back rooms on Friday evening with my son. Terrific movie. I think it's I was legitimately floored at how creative it was, how creative it was with the sets, and how profound also it was. There was a level of profundity to it where I'm like, there's no way a 20-year-old did all of this. And isn't that the conspiracy theory, right? That's the conspiracy going on with what's his name? Parsons, right? Isn't that the conspiracy theory going around? Is that the movie's too good? It couldn't have been from a 20-year-old, and that's kind of insulting, right? But it is terrific. I really, really, really enjoyed it. One of these movies that sticks with you after, and you keep thinking about it, and you're trying to find, like, you're so close to, like, you feel like you're so close to catching the meaning. And I had been talking about it on all of these, I guess these pre-streams or whatever. It's not a pre-stream since we're already streaming, but I had been talking about it on these little warm-up sessions that I was worried that the YouTube stuff. I was worried because of the YouTube stuff, because the YouTube backrooms stuff that exists is all, I find, very tedious and boring. because it's essentially all the same thing, walking down these empty back rooms, the same type of lighting and whatnot, and the like a big office complex, and the greenish yellow light and the hum and all that, and all it is there's no characters, there's no people, it's all shot from a point of view, and all you hear is like the main character breathing hard, then you'd occasionally hear, and the pacing was all very super slow, and I really wasn't into, like, I understood it, but it didn't get to me because I was like, there's nothing here. It's just like extended stuff. Well, yeah, they avoided all of that in the film. The film is very, very good. Great story. I highly recommend it. And even if you're not into horror movies, I don't even think it's like, I mean, of course there's horror, there's horror elements to it, but like I don't even think it's like, you know, that horrifying. It's very psychological, it turns out. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Huge. Good scares. Great finish. 5 out of 5. Loved it. And I cooked. Other than that, I cooked. I made on Saturday. I made, since it's lobster season, I made a lobster risotto, which was tasty as hell. You know what I did? You want to know what I did? Made the broth out of it, because what I bought was wasn't the full lobsters. I got the tails. I got lobster tails. I just wanted the meat from the tails. So what I did was when I removed the shells, tossed the shells into boiling water, made myself a nice little golden broth. And I had some shrimp in there, so I threw, removed the casing, the shell. I just said the word shell. Why did I? I removed the shells and threw that in too. It was just fantastic. It was so good. And then yesterday I made ribs. Got some nice baby back ribs with some crispy duck fat potatoes. And tonight we had hot dogs. And I was like, I'm not cooking again tonight. It was a good culinary weekend for your boy Warren Hayes and his son. In the meantime, who benefits from all these things. But to be fair, he does cook as well on occasion, and I benefit. I benefit tremendously when he makes food as well, because he's very good too. Truly delicious stuff. Truly delicious stuff. So there you go. Hey, William Davis, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also a member of the channel. Good to see you, Will. Hot dogs in the air fryer like a champ. I did. Tried that out, and my technique was I just split them down the middle. And just not like a huge incision, but just a slight incision down the middle. So, kept them from exploding, bursting. I'd say about 10 minutes at 390 is what I did, according to a suggestion from someone online. And it was an experiment that was highly successful. We'll do again. There you go. Mickey O'Cannon, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also member of the channel. You use a rice cooker for your hot dogs? I guess the steam, if you like them steamed, that's perfect. That's perfect. It makes a lot of sense, come to think of it. And yes, go Knicks, I guess. It's going well for them. Heard the president of the United States is showing up to game 3. Isn't that where we're at? Game 3? I heard the president of the United States is showing up, ruining it for everyone in New York. New Yorkers, you just have to leave them alone. If you get in their way, they're going to hate you. I don't think this is going to go well for them. DJ Convoy, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the lovely compliment about my risotto. It was very legit. I had lobster meat, had some big ass Argentinian shrimp, and asparagus. It was all very good. It was a delicious time. AEW1, how you doing, Travis? Welcome to the chat. Also a member of the channel. So is Mike McCullough. He's also a member of the channel. And how you doing? Welcome. Mr. Antox, nice to see you as well, and welcome. Speaking of cooked, why is New Japan so obsessed with Yo? Look, we're going to talk about the Super Juniors tonight. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. Mr. Warren, I have lobster every day, Hayes. Excuse me? That is not what I said. Not even remotely close. You know, it's probably a very bad idea to have lobster every day. There's probably all sorts of, you know, the chemicals in the water. Mercury or whatever the fuck. Will probably poison you if you eat too much lobster. If you eat lobster every day, I'm convinced you end up with some kind of poisoning. It can't be good for you. It has to. There was a time, I don't think it's as prominent now. It was like, oh, you should only eat fish once a week because of, you know, of all the shit in the water, you know. But I think like with the farming and with the salmon farms and stuff like that, I think I don't think it's as bad as it was. I'm assuming because I eat fish once a week. I like fish. I like fish and seafood in general. There isn't much on the side of seafood, shellfish, you know, crustaceans, calamari. I like it all. I like seafood quite a bit. Eels. I like eel. There's these like little, I had them like when I was in Spain a few years ago. It's like these little fucking tiny eels. Like they're very super like thin and you know, short. And they serve them to you raw. So basically they're all like, the eels are there and you just like pick them up and you go, you just eat the eel whole. It's great. The texture is delicious. The texture is delicious. My notification didn't go out. How you doing, Carlos? YouTube, you bitch. You know, YouTube sends me an email today. Says, hey, you want to get more views? Make soccer content. Like, I'm like, okay, that's certainly a suggestion. I could also suggest, you know, just, you know, make the algorithm a little more favorable for me as well. Clap, get into it indeed. Hey, I was talking with someone. Did I talk about this last week? I don't think so, but because I was talking with someone from Jersey recently about the World Cup, you know, and I was asking, are you gonna go watch some games? And they're like, no, I'm poor. And it's not even like you know, he said, first of all, he said, I'm poor. No, wait, I'm middle class. I can't afford these tickets. So then he so then you know, I asked him, I says, yeah, well, you know, well, do you think how do you think it's going to go? You know, just give me some idea. And they told me that for the games in New York, they have banned vehicles from coming into park, right? Like apparently you can't bring your car, drive it up to whatever stadium it is. I don't know, but you can drive in there. You have to take public transportation. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And they're like, well, it's going to cost $100 to take the train in. $100 to take the fucking train in. And I'm like, wait, what about the people who are working? And he sort of went like this. $100 to get on the train. And then I started reading up about it, and like the state or the city or whatever, they're like, well, FIFA was supposed to give us some money for that, but they're not, and we can't foot the bill for the transportation. I'm like, what do you mean you can't foot the bill for the for public transportation of your citizens and people, tourists coming in to spend money in your town. What do you mean you cannot foot the bill to send trains out to the World Cup? That's preposterous. They're trying to paint FIFA as the bad guys. That being said, I have no problem painting FIFA as the bad guys. That is actually in character for them. Everybody buys it, so I understand what they're doing. But let's be real here. Let's be real here. Jesus Christ. It really just sounds that they're just trying to squirm out of a bad situation. We're like, let's make a mint here. What happened to the sport of the working class? What happened? Like, legitimately. I feel the same way about pro wrestling. I wrote an article about it on Voices of Wrestling about a month and a half ago, around WrestleMania time. 2 months now? Whatever. Anyway. Talking about like how wrestling is being priced out from the people who were the audience and who it should cater to. It's ridiculous. DGMC, nice to see you and welcome. A Forgotten Sons watch party. Poor Steve Macklin. $100 just to watch US and Canada men's team play to a draw. If only. You should start making a banana ball content because that shit is the draw. What's a banana ball content? Is it these things where... Wait. Is that the thing where you get... Where you do a live stream and you get kids to bet on... You get kids to super chat bets on emoji use? Oh, the Savannah bananas. Okay, no, it's something else. Yeah, the Savannah bananas rock. If it has something to do with the Savannah bananas, it is absolutely something that works. It's fine. When is Warren going to stream some FIFA 06 gameplay? I've never played any FIFA game. I don't see why I'd start today. Canada versus Switzerland in BC was $1,000. How are you supposed to go enjoy this? It's preposterous. It's just like it's just like the president of the United States going to attend a game, right? Goes to attend the Knicks game and ruins it for everyone. It's crazy. Anyway. Grandmaster Solus. It's nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. How much did they give me? How much did they give McMahon to rebuy WWE? Yeah, it's literally a take my wife, please. Mr. Warren Hayes in 2026 began his empire with a lone fried banana stand in the middle of Quebec City. Always check the banana stand, right? Always, there's always money in the banana stand. Paying $12,000 for a Knicks game, you can boo Trump in person. I mean, look, honestly, it sucks for the block party aspect of it, right? Like, it's bad enough that the game is priced out for regular people to go enjoy. Now, the regular people who want to see it like in a group, in a crowd, they have to go to the outside block party or whatever they do. I forget how they call it, with the big screens outside of MSG and all that. And you're like, now they can't even do that because Trump comes in and decides that he's gonna fuck it all up for everyone. All right. Johnny69, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. I don't know why I sniffled there. But we've got ourselves a lovely, lovely show tonight. I think. I would assume. I mean, I put it together for what it's worth. You know, there's no bit. There's no. I think it's going to be one of those with a lot of smaller topics, as opposed to one big thing that we have to sink our fingers into. I think this is just one that's just good. We're going to touch on a variety of different subjects. I would say. I would assume. I would say. So there you go. So that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, look, just go through the regular stuff. It came in late, came in on Saturday, but you got your Dynamite review. It's there. It's available. You can mosey on over and enjoy it anytime you want at this point, just like at any given moment. Maybe not right now, but it's there. So I reviewed a very good episode of Dynamite. Episode of Dynamite that I thoroughly enjoyed. I didn't have any issues with it. 2 excellent matches on top of that. Yeah, it was just a good time. So I highly recommend you watching the Mr. Warren Hayes Show AEW Dynamite reviews. I would dare say that I do the best, most in-depth AEW Dynamite weekly review. I legitimately put that out there, and I will accept any challenge. But for real, I go for the half. My reviews are half of the runtime of a Dynamite. So I'm scratching into everything. I'm getting into the core of the stuff. Breaking it apart. Who does that? Who does it? Who goes as deep as I do? I legitimately think I have the best AEW Dynamite review around. I do. I really do believe that. And Brian Alvarez, anyway. And then the Mr. Warren Hayes Show will be, so the Dynamite review, of course, will be back this week, this Thursday, of course. The Mr. Warren Hayes Show will also be available on Wednesday. So it's just going to be like your regular, typical week. Just a regular, typical week here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. And isn't that great? So there you go. That's what we're going to be doing. We're back to normal. And sometimes normal is just fine. Unlike this guy here, who isn't quite normal, but we love him for it nonetheless.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Jacques Moliere.
Let's go.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
That's right.
I'm Nunchuck Master. And I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling. Hoo-yah!
Hoo-yah! Hey, Patrick, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also a member of the channel. Not just any old Patrick. The Patrick that is a silver member of the channel on top of that. Got the silver trophy. I forget how long that means. I do all the tiers, but I can't remember. The levels. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you're ready for some wrestling talk. If you are, leave a like on this stream right now. Air fried hot dogs. So be sure to So be sure to leave a like there and stick around, because this is our docket right here. All sorts of lovely stuff to talk about. Rubbing my hands together. You want to talk about a list to begin with? I think we'll, because if I don't talk about the list tonight, it's going to be too late to talk about it on Thursday. We already pushed it back from last Thursday's stream, because we talked about the greatest wrestler ever list, which I thought was interesting but dubious. And dubious is a fun word. It will always be a fun word. No, but I'd like to start things off. Let me do that again. I guess that sounds right. I would like to start things off tonight talking about talking a little bit about the 2026 edition of the Voice of Wrestling 30 Under 30 list, which of course I am a voter, a contributor to. Is this like the third or the fourth year? I think it's the third year that I contribute, or is it? I don't remember. When did it start? It started in 2023, I want to say. So maybe I've been there from the start. I think I've been there from the start. I think because I think we started this. I think we started our 30 Under 30 because I think it was either ESPN or Sports Illustrated that put out a 30 Under 30, and we were all just sitting around in our group chat and just like completely befuddled with the list. Just like I don't remember. Like they probably put Dom Mysterio at number 1. No. Rhea would have been higher that year, but like Dom Mysterio would have probably been really high up, and what's her name? Roxy, right? She would have, she was on that, just like an excruciating bad list. We were like, we could do better. And then Griffin Peltier of Vowed just like dusted himself off it. All right, I'll handle this. Yes, Roxanne Perez, Roxy. That's what I said. So we've been doing this since. So this really was an answer to one of these major outlets doing a WWE heavy, completely uninspired 30 Under 30 list that, had its token, had a token luchador in there, had Mascara Dorada in there as a token luchador, and that was pretty much it, right? Anyway, but why don't we take a look at we've got the top 15 here. We'll just break it down. We'll break it down very quickly, but we'll go from the start. Number 1 spot was, I think this was completely undeniable, Saya Kamatani at number 1, Kyle Fletcher at number 2, Callum Newman at number 3, Yuma Anzai at number 4, Kevin Knight number 5. That's a solid top 5 if you ask me. Even if I'm overall unfamiliar. I don't want to say unfamiliar because I have watched a couple of his matches, but like I don't follow Yuma Anzai's career as closely as others do at Voices of Wrestling. But from what I've seen, the guy's got the goods. Mascara Dorada at number 6, Miyu Watanabe at number 7, Starlight Kid at number 8, Azumi at number 9, Jackie Kamei at number 10. He's going to be Dragon Gate's last hope. He's Dragon Gate's last hope at this stage. He's at number 10. And if we want to push on to 15, Senka Akatsuki is at number 11. Yuto Ice at number 12. Neon at number 13. Zandakan Jr. 14. And Kosei Fujita at 15. It's really a shame that we had to put in our votes before the Best of Super Juniors were done, because I would have ranked old Kosei higher than I did. That's for damn sure. So that's the top 15. Of course, you can go to the website and check it all. Yeah, we did start in 2023. So I was there, I guess. I was a part of the crew. So I was there when it all started. So there you go. You can see the differences here, right? Where, Saya was at number 7 on last year's list. Now she jumped right up to number 1. Kyle, consistent at 2 for the past 2 years. Huge jump for Callum Newman. I guess winning a major world championship, and having some good matches in between will help raise that. Yuma Anzai went up. Kevin Knight as well bounced up this year with him being featured and coming into his own. Mascara Dorada as well. Miyu Watanabe was not ranked last year. She was ranked in 2024 at 27. Now she's at number 7. Starlight Kid from 19 to 8. Azumi from 15 to 9. Jackie Kamei from 20 to 10. Lots of people taking up spots and jumping up hugely in the rankings. And you're probably sitting there going, but God damn, Warren. Those are a lot of, look at all these jumps. Like who are the schmucks who are falling off? It's not as much schmucks falling off as people who were stalwarts of the list and who were in high places on the list just disappeared because they're 30 years old or older now. Well, mostly 30, right? Kenosuke Takeshita, MJF, Tony Storm, just off the top of my head. These are all people who are top players on the list. They're all gone. They're all gone just because they aged themselves out of the list. So opens up new spots for new 30 under 30 people, and you'll notice a lot of people who hadn't been ranked before. I mean, we're going maybe a little far here, because we're going quite far here. But a lot of people, a lot of people on this list who weren't ranked previously. So that's kind of part of it, right? But there's also people on this list, or at least who are still under 30, who just haven't been doing much, right? And haven't had particularly notable years, haven't done anything interesting. One of the main critiques that the list got this year is that it is the top 30 is absolutely absent of WWE stars. Where is Rhea Ripley, for instance? Well, Rhea didn't have a particularly interesting year. I'm not saying that Rhea's been on this list since the beginning, right? Where is Rhea actually this year? Oops. Oh, she wasn't ranked last year. Isn't that interesting? But you see, she was 8th when we started, 15 2 years ago. She wasn't ranked last year. I didn't realize that. But she's still under 30. She's still okay. So it's like she just, like, what did Rhea Ripley do within the past year that was of any interest? Same goes with a guy like Daniel Garcia, who was also someone that a lot of us were into. There we go. See, he cracked the top 10 2 years ago. Completely absent. I mean, they're not doing anything with him either, right? He's just a guy. Wheeler Yuta does the same thing. Nothing going on with them. Just nothing going on. So, Braun Breaker is kind of the same thing. He was injured for a substantial part of the year. Apparently he might be injured again, or there was an injury scare at the very least. So we're, there's just people this year that normally you'd be like, yeah, this person absolutely would be a shoo-in, and there's some good buzz, and their work was solid, and they were doing some interesting things, but then nothing really happened. And they were just like another cog in the wheel, or a background player. It's not because they're not overall talented. It's just part of it is during the past year, they didn't do much. Which is why a guy like Kevin Knight leaps up from 21 last year to 5 this year. Because he's getting a push. He's the recipient of a push. They're trying him out. So far, it's been going quite well. His tag team with Speedball has been tremendous. Like, his decision to go in AEW was probably the best career decision he could have done. Just absolutely spectacular stuff, right? So, it's an interesting, it's interesting when you look at it that way, where there's a bunch of people, very talented people who are still under 30 years old, but that are not on the list just because they're not doing much. They're not interesting. They're not captivating they're just not captivating anyone's attention. And look, I mean, then at the same time, you see the other side of it. Gabe Kidd was number 1 last year. Like, there's no one in the right mind last year would have said, no, this Gabe Kidd guy, no, he sucks. There's nothing to him. But now this year dropped all the way down to 20, and you sort of go, yeah, well, I mean, I can see it. he just hasn't had a good year. I would go as far as to argue that Gabe Kidd coming to AEW was a bad career move. I think he should have stuck it out in New Japan for a couple of more years. I think he was destined to come to America at some point, but I would have waited that one out just a little bit. But I mean, that's without knowing at all. That's without knowing what's going on backstage, right? Without all the politics and drama and stuff like that, right? Without knowing any of that, because there might be backstage reasons why he wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. And, the booking wasn't great either. Can't blame the guy for wanting to hit the bricks, right? But I think it might have been a better idea for him to stick around. I think it would have been a better idea for him to stick around. Anyway, Kaito Kiyomiya is another guy. Look at that. Here's a guy who really lost it for himself, right? Number 1 in 2024, 9th place last year, and now 22nd. A guy that, was an ace, was meant to be the ace of his company, and just completely fell off. Ozawa's another guy. But again, also Ozawa, injuries and whatever. I think that I said it on Blue Sky, and I'll say it here. This is the most fun list, I think, that I partake in, because it's really, really fun to think about the up and comers and the wrestlers that are, the rookies and the wrestlers who are on the verge of breaking out. I think it's really interesting to think of them and in that sense and put a list together, trying to highlight, who the next generation are going to be, essentially. I enjoy it every year. It's really a lot of fun. But look, outside of that, I mean, those are my main takeaways from the list. I think it's a good list. I think it's a very good list. I've heard people say, last year's list was a little strange. A lot of people thought it was very Dragon Gate heavy, But here's the thing, there's a lot of a way a lot of the list is put together is people thinking about the impact that a wrestler first and foremost has within its home promotion before, what kind of far-reaching superstardom that wrestler has, right? What is the impact of that wrestler on their home promotion, first and foremost? So that's why you'll have a guy like Yumanzai who'll be who'll be up here, or Jackie Kamei. You know, like no one watches Dragon Gate these days. I say that laughing, but you know, not because I'm taking any pleasure in it. Is, you know, but then you'd be like, well, why is this guy cracking the top 10? He wrestles in Dragon Gate. You know, it not exactly going well. Well, he's very. He's been good for his promotion and is part of a future vision. You know, like you can see how he's going to fit in a future vision for Dragon Gate as well. So, you know, it makes sense for him to be, since he's such a big player in his promotion, it makes sense for him to be high on the list on that front. It's not necessarily a thing where we're all weighing everyone against each other in the influence that they have, and are they wrestling national promotions? Are they, you know, are they on TV? It's not necessarily that, you know. It's not necessarily that. You know, it's the same thing with Miyu Watanabe. You know, Miyu's a very good pro wrestler. You know, regardless of how small Tokyo Joshi Pro is in the scheme of things, she's crucial for a promotion. Look at how high Senka is on this list and her affiliations, right? So, you know, it's like, you know, it's essentially that, like, that's essentially the main value, is how important are they for their promotions first and foremost. And then you get people like Saya Kamitani who are transcending the promotion as well, right? Like she's breaking into the mainstream in Japan. Then you have a guy like Kyle Fletcher, who is an undeniable pro wrestling star, and this is why these people are like at the tippy top. You know, Callum Newman taking the reins and developing himself into someone completely different than to what he was a year ago, after winning a like one of the most prestigious world championships. I mean, these are all things that you take into consideration moving forward, of course. So there you go. I mean, look, overall, those are my main takeaways. And I think, look, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you know, please do chat. I would love to hear any arguments to the opposite. But if WWE wrestlers are absent from the list, considering like the logic that I just provided here, I think it's just a sign. I think it's an observable sign of how little WWE used its young talent over the last year, right? It was one of the main criticisms that WWE fans had towards WWE. It's like, it's always the same people. It's always the old guys. The promotion's getting older. The old main event scene, old. You know, that would come up more often than not. And they can't seem to just commit to pushing Javon Evans, you know, pushing Obafemi, pushing Rhea. You know, that's how it goes. I think it makes sense to me. You know, your promotion didn't see much in you, didn't make you work. You know, didn't put any real faith in what you do this year, and there you go. You're not on the list. You didn't make the list. Well, there you go. So, voiceofwrestling.com if you want to check out the entire list. Oh, do you want to see my ballot? You want to see my ballot? Here's my ballot. There's my top 10 right there. Maybe this might even be... Wait, what happened? Just jumped up here. There we go. Here, we'll go like this. So there you go. Saya Kamitani, Callum Newman, Kyle Fletcher, Kevin Knight, and Starlight Kid. That was my top 5. Then Mascara Dorada, Azumi, Saya Carrara, who I thought she had a tremendous year. I honestly, I think Sayaka was too low on the list this year, personally. Francesco Akira and Senka Akatsuki is my top 10. And you can see the rest of my top 30 as well here. You can check out all of this. You can check out all of this and more on MrWarrenHayes.show, which is my profile page, just my little home on the internet where I can put all this junk and then use it for content later. Makes my job a lot easier. So there you go. So that's so that was my ballot right there for the VOW 30 under 30 this year. So voila. The next season, the next list I will be into is the women's list, the women's 250. That'll be the next one. BJ Dixon, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Mr. Hayes, have you been watching MLW Fusion? I'm really their program on YouTube. I'm really into, I guess, their program on YouTube. No, I have not been watching MLW. Kristen Ashley, nice to see you, darling. Welcome to the chat. It is so nice to see you. Oh, Kristen also happens to be a member of the channel on top of that. She does it all. Big Man Dogs, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I would have liked Akira and Oscar on the list, excuse me. I would probably rank Javon Evans and Kendall Gray over some of the people who made the list, assuming it's in-ring input based. There's a lot, yes. I mean, it's a lot of it is the work as well. There's a significant amount of it that's work based. But like I said, when it comes to Javon Evans and Kendall Gray, I don't think anyone denies that they're great talents, but they haven't done anything this year. Like Javon was called up and then immediately becomes a non-entity. Kendall Gray is stuck on NXT. Like she's probably the best female prospect that WWE has had in years. And she's slumming it in NXT. So, what do you do with this kind of stuff? Tony should have paid Gabe Kidd to incubate in Japan and become a giant star before bringing him over. I mean, Gabe had a good thing going. And then look, he got hurt. That was also part of the equation during the G1 the last year. That was part of it, but his booking also was also terrible. And he was probably fed up with it too. He was probably really, really fed up with his booking as well. And he was like, I got to go, take a risk, bet on myself, etc. But he's having a bit of a harder time getting over than I think a lot of people thought he would. But I kind of saw it coming because I would always, I often said, look, if he wants to get over on American TV, he's going to have to tone it down a bit. I would have at least put Oba somewhere in the top 30. I think he's awesome, at least better than Kaito Kiyomiya. This is Oba Femi, who retired Brock Lesnar for only Brock Lesnar to return and unretire himself so he could get his 50-50 win. It's that Oba Femi, right? Okay. I mean, they push Rhea, though. She literally had a WrestleMania title match every year since 2020. LOL. What can I tell you? She didn't make the list. What can I tell you? I feel she's spinning her wheels, personally. That's just me. And also, we don't know how old Oba really is. That is also true. That is also very true. Oba is he's a powerhouse Hobbs type of situation where you think you know how old he is, but in reality. All right. What should we go with next? What should we do next? Let's talk about, we were on a kick talking about contracts last stream on Thursday. Let's keep this momentum going here. Unfortunate momentum, where Steve Macklin was released from TNA. That was reported directly from the horse's mouth, if I'm not mistaken. Let's read the article here provided to us from the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online. It was announced by TNA on Sunday that Steve Macklin, as well as Myla Grace, had departed the company after coming to terms with their release. Myla Grace was not released on Sunday because we talked about it on Thursday. Macklin, though, was released this weekend. He was not part of the contract talk that we had last Thursday. Myla Grace absolutely was, but not Macklin. Anyway, Macklin had departed the company after coming to terms with his release. However, Fightful Select reported that Macklin had preferred to keep his TNA release quiet, only for the company to issue a short press release confirming his departure. This comes from the Fightful report here. We're told Macklin had hoped to keep the word of the departure quiet, but TNA issued a press release announcing it. They rarely do that and didn't consult Myla Grace or Macklin ahead of the decision. Additionally, Fightful noted that Macklin had been someone who was outspoken publicly about the company's creative direction and didn't feel it had improved once the company moved to AMC earlier this year. Oh my God, the guy has a pair of eyes. The company's pay scale was also an issue internally, but the majority of TNA talent are no longer on full-time deals, even after the move to a new network. According to Fightful, both Macklin and Grace are expected to have interest from companies outside of TNA. Oh, you don't say. And then we break down the idea, of course, that Macklin had re-signed with the company earlier this year, following the Feaster fired angle where he got the fired thing, but they re-signed him, fired him only in kayfabe, but then ended up releasing him just a couple of months later. TNA, brother. Listen. Okay, I don't know. I want to say too many things at once. Let's start with what we usually do. Steve Macklin, talented guy. A talented guy, but I don't know where he fits exactly. I don't know where he fits. I don't know if he's an AEW guy. I don't think he's a WWE guy. I think if he had been a WWE guy, they would have picked him up earlier than that. You know what I think he should do? This might be a little... I think he should head to Japan and work for Freedoms for a bit. Macklin's a fucking bleeder. I'm half joking. On one hand, I'm like, yeah, but some of Steve Macklin's most memorable matches is him just covered in carry amounts of blood all over him, right? It's just preposterous. Have him wrestle Jun Kasai. I'd watch it. Macklin's crazy. But, in all honesty, I honestly don't know where he lands. I think he's a good MLW fit. I even think he's a good NWA fit. And quite frankly, he will be better paid. He will be better paid in NWA than he was in TNA. Can you believe this sentence here, chat? The company's pay scale was also an issue internally, but the majority of TNA talent are no longer on full-time deals, even after the move to a new network. What the, like, honestly, frankly, what the fuck, folks? After this big move that was supposed to be this big life-changing thing for TNA, nothing has changed. And we talk about it once in a while, you know, maybe not as much as when it started, but from a production point of view, nothing has changed. TNA looked that one time that we did the AMC debut and we did the watch party. Outside of that one, haven't watched it since. The promotion, the production has not improved. And if they're not paying their wrestlers anymore, what are they doing with this money? Or is there any real money to begin with? Like, it's a conversation we hadn't had for a while, but I think it is fairly clear that whatever deal they got with AMC, it is absolutely an ad split, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, AEW started with an ad split before Warner Bros. Went, oh no, there's a lot. Yeah, we're going to hang on to you guys. There's a lot of money to do with you, to do with you guys. You guys are great. We're going to hang on to y'all. So there, you know, starting with an ad split is not embarrassing, but the fact that they never mentioned it makes it look like they're embarrassed. They would have been much better off just saying, yeah, it's an ad split. And then everyone sort of goes, but the fact that they never mention it just shows that they're embarrassed, because now they feel, because you know, everyone, all the grifters were all talking about how TNA was going to be the number 2 promotion in the land, right? There's no fucking way they're ever doing, like, this was all wishful thinking. This was all just wishful thinking. WWE has all but abandoned TNA at this point. They don't send anyone anymore. There's no more crossover. Once they start doing more crossover, it's going to be for another talent they want to poach from TNA. Right? They got the Jordan Grace. They got the say his name, man. Not Mark Henry, Joe Hendry. They got those two. And then when they're going to want Mike Santana, well, suddenly we're going to get some more crossover. But like, whatever money is being made, because unless this is a completely losing operation, which I'm starting to feel it is, there's got to be money being made somewhere in this deal. Who's pocketing the money? And if they're releasing people and keeping people on, you know, that no longer having most of their wrestlers not even be on full-time contracts anymore, what does that tell you, chat? What does that tell you? Does that sound like a healthy company to you? Does that sound like a healthy promotion? No, that's a promotion that's scrambling for dollars. You know, like I said, I haven't watched a live TNA or even a taped one. I haven't watched anything like that in such a long time. I don't know what kind of ads they're getting. Are they getting any premium ads? Are they getting, you know, like beer ads? Probably not. Are they getting big fast food chains? Probably not. Are they getting, you know, the big luxury cars? Probably not. Or are they getting, you know, I don't know, Stacker 2? Is that what they're getting? Are they getting the Stacker 2 ads, the equivalent of the Stacker 2 ads in 2026? What would be the equivalent of Stacker 2 commercials in 2026? I mean, like, it's not even the prescription drug stuffs, right? The prescription drugs commercials. Anyway. And those are the White Claw. I feel like White Claw would be a little more. Vapes. Now we're talking. No, there's some vape shops. Yeah, that would make sense to me now. No, it's the fuck. It's those testosterone pills that Doug Flutie, pushes. That's exactly it. It's the testosterone pills. You know what I'm talking about? The commercial where he's out like golfing and he runs into not rhino pills. No. No. Hey, Rory Starks, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Not reindeer organs either. That's Mark Henry that handles those. No. But have you never seen these commercials where you've got Doug Flutie and like a former NFL player, another former NFL player, and they're like hanging out on the golf course, and they're playing, they're playing golf, obviously, because they're on a golf course, and they run into this one guy, this doughy white guy, and he's like, man, I wish I could get my energy back and my hair loss and all of that, and then they start shilling. No one knows what I'm talking about. Does anyone tell me what I'm talking about? I am not low T. My T is fine. But my point is that that's the 2026 Stacker 2. I got to look this up. It's driving me bonkers. I cannot have Okay, Doug Flutie testosterone ad seems to have some. Nugenics with Frank Thomas. Yes, someone said Frank Thomas in the chat. Someone said Frank Thomas in the chat. Look, we're gonna watch this. That sounded like a threat. that sounded like a threat.
Can you believe this? Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas.
Oh, see, I thought it was a doughy white guy. There's another commercial where it is actually a doughy white guy. Okay, so there's a lot of these on Tubi. You see, that's it. Is this the kind of ad that's being broadcast on TNA? Because I feel like that's it. Now, if these are the types of ads that are being broadcast on TNA, and there's an ad split, well, neither side is making all that much cash.
Guys look great. Once I turn 40,
let me guess, less energy, less drive.
Definitely. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It happens to everyone. It's your body, man.
Every man. Testosterone levels drop as you age.
Happen to you guys?
Yep.
So
what? Happened to you guys? Yep. This commercial is it's so dopey.
what did you do?
We got Eugenics Total T.
To get you.
And they say it in chorus as if they had rehearsed it. Eugenics. That's the one I was thinking of. This is the Stacker 2 for 2026. But my favorite part, I don't know if in this commercial it has it, but in my favorite part, yes, this is absolutely Spike TV coded. Abso-fucking-lutely, and especially when the wife shows up, right? Because at some point, Frank Thomas is going to say something like, she's going to like it too, with your energy levels back, she's going to like it too, type of thing. Meaning, yeah, you're going to start boning your wife again, and she's going to stop ogling the pool boy.
Your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T. Text FRESH to 321-321.
I don't get any commissions off of this, so please don't. This is not an endorsement. This is not like guerrilla marketing. I'm making fun of this shit.
This unique man-boosting formula is powered by...
What is a man-boosting formula?
Testofen, a
The patented ingredient Testofen. It sounds like something straight out of the Venture Brothers.
The key ingredient, clinically researched to help
it's something that Dr. Venture would be working on, like in his lab. I'm developing right now a great solution to help boost manhood. I call it Testofen. Like, that's exactly what it is. It's straight out of the Venture Brothers, which is a show that aired in the mid-2000s and figured all of this bullshit out decades before everyone else saw it.
Testosterone levels
That does it. I gotta get Nugenics.
There's the wife. There's the wife. So it's coming. It's coming. The wife is there. Plus the friend.
Just send a text for a complimentary bottle. And by the way, she'll like it too.
Get your complimentary bottle of New.
She's blushing. Now why did Frank Thomas wink at the wife? Why did he wink at her? She'll like it too. Right? Did you notice? Look at this. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this guy.
That does it. I gotta get Nugenics.
Just send a text for a complimentary bottle. And by the way,
Look at that. Why is he winking at her? The fuck? Why? She's gonna like getting fucked too.
she'll
Look
like
at her.
it.
She goes.
Get your
she goes,
complimentary
"Aw,
bottle of New.
shucks. Tee. And then the friend on the side. It's like, what? She's looking up at him. She's like, I'd like a taste of that. I'd like a taste of that energy. In your loose-fitting sky blue polo shirt.
Nugenics now. Text FRESH to 321321. Text now and we'll include.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think the best parts of I think the commercials. Yeah. After that, it doesn't matter. So these are the types of commercials that I'm assuming are airing on AMC during TNA. Because look, can you imagine the ad rate for this? It's in the toilet. Like, these are the cheapest fucking ads to air. These are companies that have zero budget and are just like taking advantage of whatever cheap airtime they can get. So, of course, like, if these are the types of commercials that TNA is getting and they're splitting that revenue with AMC, TNA is not making any money. These ads are above TNA now. I'd be so pissed if I was trying to hit a bucket of balls and all the chaos was going on. Hey, Flutie Thomas, stop hawking your fucking pills. And there's three of us waiting to go. What the fuck? And I love how they don't even introduce the wife, right? The wife just shows up, and the husband's not like, look, honey, let me introduce you to my new best friends, Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie. Like, nice. None of that, right? It's just like straight up. Anyway, moving on. The AMC stuff, right? Look, it's not paying off for them. It's not paying off for them. The company is not in a good spot. And that, I think this is what we said back in January, where it's like, look, we'll see what kind of moves they make. But it doesn't sound like they're in a sound spot moving forward, right? I still think Anthem is just begging WWE to buy them. Is just begging WWE, waiting with bated breath for WWE to sweep in and take TNA off their hands. I'm so sure. And so is Carlos. Carlos is just sitting there waiting for Nick to show up at his door. His shirt ripped open, his hair wavy in the wind, ready to sweep Carlos off his feet and put him on his white horse and ride into the moonlight together. That's what he's waiting for. A job. He's waiting for a job. He's waiting for a job in WWE. That's what he's doing. But like the state of it is the state is not good. The state of this company is not good. Look, Mike Gilbert of the Mike and JD show, friend of the show, by the way. He's a TNA Impact insider, and he tweeted out like something to the effect of oh, well, you know, people's problems aren't necessarily with Carlos. It's all with like middle management. That's the issue, right? He tweets that out, and then later on, quote tweets that tweet and says, well, I got a bunch of DMs correcting me, so I guess the problem is not Carlos. This fucking guy, Carlos Silva. I'm telling you, I never liked the guy. Never liked the guy. And clearly, neither did Macklin, who was very, very upfront about it. He's always been very upfront about how he feels in regards to his creative and whatnot. And look, you want to see? I think I put it here, right? Yes, I got it here. I don't know if you saw this clip here, but I'm gonna roll this for you. But just so you know, this actually aired on an episode of TNA Impact on AMC.
Silva.
Did you make out what he said? He said, sit back in your cuck chair. Okay? And look at Carlos's reaction.
Silva.
He can't even play along. He's got one, like in kayfabe, one of your guys, and you're the boss, one of your guys is insulting you. And you're standing there going, what a card. What a cut up this Macklin guy is. Fucking embarrassing. And here's the thing. It's like, I'm not even one of these people who thinks like being called a cuck is all that big of an insult. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like I know, like in the manly man environments and on the internet, you know, it's like cuck is probably the worst insult you could get thrown out there, right? It's like do whatever the fuck you want in the intimacy of your home with consenting adults. I don't give a shit what goes on, frankly. Oh yeah, unless, like I said, unless no one gets hurt physically and everyone's consenting, I do not care. So, you know, it's like, I know like for alpha males, this is like the worst fucking thing. You can't be called a cuck, kind of, you know. So it's not even the fact that it's like, oh no, he's attacking his masculinity. I don't give a shit. It's more like, you know, I transpose myself and I understand what the insult is supposed to mean. And Carlos is like, tee-hee-hee.
Silva.
Tee-hee-hee. I am a cuck. He's right. It's funny because it's true. Oh, Steve. Oh, you got me. I am just a cuck for Daddy WWE. I am just a cuck. They want to come in and they want to take my biggest stars. Sure. They want to take Leon Slater for a show in the UK so that he'll miss the debut of my show, the biggest debut of my show for you know, within the last decade or so. Biggest debut on cable television. My biggest young upcoming star on the night that I should be putting my best foot forward for everything. WWE wants to take him away. Okay, sure. It's preposterous. It's preposterous. Look, Macklin is, you know, maybe after Silva realized that, hey, he's making fun of me. Hey, what the hell's going on here? Maybe then he called him into his office to try and it's like, well, you know. Well, that's essentially, look, he basically said, you know, no, I'm gone. I'm leaving the company. Ask for my release and I'll go away. Oh, because this is the point that I was, well, just to bring back the point, I made it previously, but just to make sure we hammered this home, the NWA pays its people better now than TNA does. And this is just like fact at this point. I mean, based on all these reports, of course. If TNA has people who are making a livable wage, multiple people making a livable wage on their roster. Meanwhile, TNA is trying to trim the fat and put people on, per appearance contracts. Like, what are they on? Per appearance? Monthly? Quarter? We knew that the contracts were short term. We've been talking about this in January. We knew that some people were signed up we had re-signed, but for 4 months. There was that strip of TNA has re-signed, TNA has re-signed. And never, ever, ever did the details of the length of the contract come up. And then all of a sudden, it's like, 4 months. These people are up on for 4 months. So, I think he's just going to go hedge his bets elsewhere. People took me very seriously for the freedom stuff. It was mostly a joke, but quite frankly, I think he'd do great and would be something completely different and probably would help give his career a nice little boost. Because Steve Macklin is good. Steve Macklin he's good, but he's also not a guy. What role does he come in to fill? Anyway, we wish him the best of luck. Like, he's gonna fall on his feet eventually. Like, he might just end up in Ring of Honor, quite honestly. Dion is there, and Tony has a tendency to hire the partners. He has a tendency to do that. He's done it multiple times. It wouldn't be completely foreign if at the next set of Ring of Honor tapings, Steve Macklin shows up there. And he'd be fine there too. He would be absolutely fine in Ring of Honor too. So we wish him good luck, but he'll fall back on his feet very, very easily. Didn't Leon legit have visa issues though? When he went to wrestle in the UK for WWE? Well, didn't he come back like immediately after? I could be misremembering because I don't follow the WWE as close as I used to, but let's take a look. Oh, he did miss the premiere because of legitimate visa processing issues. Okay. So that's why. Oh, well, okay. I retract my previous statement on that front. Maybe I knew this and just relegated it to memory. I legitimately did not remember. I kind of remember that it was I kind of remember that it was all like now that we're talking about it, wasn't I think the criticism was, well, why didn't TNA see this coming? Why didn't the office do anything to fix this type of thing? Right? Yeah, Danny Luna wasn't there too. I mean, it's kind of an oversight. I love Mike Gilbert, but what's funny is he is still telling people there is AMC money when it's very, very clear there's nothing. They got to start showing that they have some money. Unless they're blowing all of the money on the Hardy Boys, they got to start showing that there is some money. You know, maybe Matt Hardy walks into, just like, you know, he walks into Carlos Silva's office and he's like, hey, we're a draw. We still draw today. We drew 7,000 people in the building. We're a draw. You got to give us more money because we're the draws here. And Carlos like, you're right. WWE buys TNA and AJ Styles gets dragged into being their on-air authority figure. Book it. They already have like two. Don't they have Sonya Deville and Snake Guy, Santino Marella? I can't believe anyone is entertained by Santino Marella, even back when he was supposed to be entertaining. Anyway. Folks, I got some bad news. The WWE shareholder lawsuit is canceled. Fuck! That was my response when that news came out. Let's read this article off of the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 online. The trial for the WWE shareholder lawsuit seems to be in flux. More than in flux, it's been canceled with no further delays currently being available. Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling reported that. This is what he had to write about it. The WWE merger trial has been canceled. Court administrator for the Delaware Court of Chancery, Tamara Burton, confirmed to me this evening. Thurston wrote on social media Saturday. We haven't confirmed whether a settlement has been agreed to or is being worked on. The trial was previously scheduled to start Monday, and I was so excited. You could tell last week when I was when I talked about it on the podcast. There was a little spark in my throat. Do you have a spark in your throat? There's a little magic in my throat. There was a little sparkle in my eye. There you go. I was excited for this. I was excited to have Vince McMahon up on the, providing testimony as to why he had destroyed documentation in regards to the merger, then Nick Khan, and so on and so forth. Barrios and Wilson. Oh, would have been a grand fucking time. Seeing more documents, more stuff coming out regarding WWE and their business practices. We already got a lot. We already got a substantial amount of stuff. We learned a lot of things, but we could have learned so much more. That's right, we were supposed to get Paul Levesque there as well. The trial was to feature testimony from Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, Ari Emanuel, and Mark Shapiro. Oh my God. We were so close. This is, of course, the lawsuit where the shareholders allege that the process to merge WWE and UFC to form TKO under parent company Endeavor was designed by McMahon in order for himself to retain power within WWE. Because of that, shareholders felt that McMahon didn't seek out the best potential value of a WWE sale. Last month, defendants were dealt a blow when a judge ruled that McMahon and Khan, quote, acted recklessly, unquote, by using the messaging app Signal to discuss information while adjusting their auto-delete settings so messages would delete after a short period of time. This, I think, is the most disappointing news of the year so far. We were so fucking close, guys. I don't know if you realize just how fucking close we were. I mean, like I said, we did learn quite a few things. We're not like we did pick up on we did pick up on a few things, and and this is mostly thanks to Brendan Thurston, right, who made challenges to unseal a bunch of documents and audio files, and these were all granted, and they provided, a remarkable amount of detail in regards to the process of the merger, and eventually ended up putting all of the people that I named, Vince and Nick Khan and Ari and Paul Levesque and all of these people, right? They all ended up being deposed, right? It would have been extremely interesting, it would have been extremely interesting to see how all of this would have also connected itself to the Janelle Grant case, because the period of time in that because you'll remember through the Janelle Grant stuff, you'll remember that the knowledge of her relationship with McMahon crisscrosses and her exit crisscrosses with the hush money payments and the merger talks, right? The board of directors had received like 3 anonymous emails before WrestleMania 38 or whatever, alerting them to the relationship and linked John Laurinaitis to it before getting paid, whatever millions of dollars to shut up, right? And then the Wall Street Journal pulled that out, and a series of articles talking about all the multiple payments that Vince had done to various women over the years that ultimately were deemed to have gone unreported as company expenses. And basically Vince decided to retire. And then as he's retiring, well, then we found out through the event, through the discovery part here, or the documents that I should say, not the discovery, excuse me, wrong choice of words, but through the unsealed documents, we found out that McMahon was on the phone with Ari Emanuel after he had retired and said, okay, it's time for me to step away. And he met with Ari Emanuel on August 10 alongside Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon. So, and then he orchestrated his return, and clearly Ari Emanuel facilitated that. And then in February 2023, since he figured that the NDA that he had with Grant was no longer required, he didn't pay the money he owed her. So, which was like $500,000 or something to that effect. 500, 600 million, something, 1,000, excuse me, something to that effect. And he reneged on a payment and, didn't go to arbitration and whatnot. So she decided, so she filed her lawsuit naming McMahon and Laurinaitis and WWE as defendants. And then McMahon resigned for real. Then he retired. He retired for real, like within the week, just a couple of days later or something like that. So it's really interesting, it would have been really interesting to see how the shareholder case would have revealed information that would have been relevant to the Janelle Grant stuff as well. But they decided to probably settle, right? I mean, that's very likely the outcome here. It hasn't been confirmed, but why else would this trial be terminated? Why would it be canceled if it's not because the parties decided to sit down around a table and talk it out and hash out the details? And they could get, the shareholders could get a payment up to $1 billion. I'm assuming we will get an idea of how much is going to be paid out once we get to the next quarter financials. I'm assuming we'll be able to work it out and figure it out. Because I'll be very, very, very curious to know just how much money the shareholders are going to get off of this. Because they were asking like somewhere between, was it like $600 million to $1 billion? And they had they had them by the balls. It is such a shame. It is such a shame that this is not going to trial on any level. Anyway, so it can't all be good news. So it's all going to go to a settlement, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what what kind of outcome is going to happen here for all of these wonderful people and what they're involved in. Folks, I'm going to walk away for a second. I am out of water. It is really hot here today. Plus thirsty because I ate hot dogs. I will be back. I'm just going to go fill this back up with water and I will be back. So bear with me. Bear with me. Won't be gone long. Okay. Oh, I wish I was still thirsty because of the lobster. I wish. All right. Okay. So we talked about that. We did this. We did that. This blows my mind. This blows my mind that in 2026 we are still talking about the bloodline and hiring people to be added to the bloodline story in WWE. Let's read this article off of the Figure 4 Online. It's long felt inevitable that Zilla Fatu would end up in WWE, and his additions to the company's roster could be coming soon. Incredible. PW Insider reports that amid talk of WWE being interested in him, Fatu was at the Performance Center today. Today being the 8th of June. The report does not state why Fatu was there. Paul Heyman recently voiced support for the son of the late WWE wrestler Umaga, saying that the company should sign the 26-year-old Fatu at the first possible opportunity. I mean, there's been multiple first opportunities. It's not as if he's, looking for jobs elsewhere. He literally said in an interview that he's just waiting for WWE to give him the call. It's not as if like he's wrapped up in some contract somewhere or working for AEW and he got to wait till the contract comes up. They can hire him at any given time. Fatu started training in 2022, entering the family business after a difficult past where he spent 6 years for aggravated robbery in what happened when he was 15. He's been a champion for House of Glory, Reality of Wrestling, and Fourth Rope, along with having competed for GCW. So there you go. I'm just mentioning this because it continues to show that Paul Levesque has no idea what to do with a professional wrestling outfit. He's going to go back to a story that is just so fucking exhausted, and they're going through the motions again. They're going through the motions again with Jacob Fatu right now, right? From what I understand, Jacob Fatu was defeated by Roman Reigns at the Clash in Italy or something, right? It was Clash in Italy. And so he decides, then what do they do? Well, then it's like, acknowledge me, Jacob. I did this because I love you. All the shit that Roman Reigns was doing 3 to 4 years ago. He's back doing it again. Back with the Usos. But now it's Jacob who's in the old Jimmy role, I guess. And then you have Solo Sikoa's bloodline hanging around, now diminished because Tongaloa and Jeff Cobb are gone. Now all you have left is Tamatonga and Hikuleo. What is it? Talatonga. Tamatonga and Talatonga. And now we're gonna add Zilla Fatu to this. Look, it all stinks, folks. It all stinks. This is all terrible. I can't believe that this is it's the only story they know how to tell. It's the only story Paul Levesque knows what to do here with. He's putting it through his Chat GPT, and this is what it's coming up with, right? I mean, this is AI booking. This has to be AI booking. There's no other way to do it because we're not thinking outside the box. We're not trying anything new. This is it. I have never been more convinced that this company is booked by AI now than when I heard about this. So strap in, folks. We're not done yet with the exciting ongoing story of the bloodline. What inning are we in? Seems like we're still at the bottom of the third. Wasn't that what he said? I don't think we've budged. But this is the storytelling company, right? Right? This is the company that tells. This is the story. This is the company that tells stories, La Greca. Preposterous. People have no standards. Why do people have no standards? Why don't people just like step back for a second and look at what's going on and go like, nah, I reject this. Well, I mean, I guess WWE fans have started to reject it. I guess. Anyway, just wanted to mention that. Not much more insight I can give here. And let's move on and talk about other stuff. Let's talk about AEW for a bit. I'm kind of more into that now. I'm kind of more excited about that. It sort of caught everyone by surprise here, but it turns out AEW has continued to expand its reach by adding a new broadcast partner, being Tubi, which is owned by Fox. Let's read this article here on the Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer by the boy, Josh Nason. While neither side has yet to formally announce anything as of this writing, nearly 1/3 of the entire run of AEW Dynamite is available to stream for free on the FAST service, Tubi, totaling the first 101 episodes from 2019, 2020, and 2021. Thank God now everyone can go back and see how miserable pandemic wrestling really was. On the wrestling side of things, AEW now sits along with NXT and Evolve on the service, in addition to AEW's WWE rivals and WWE biographies plus Vice's Dark Side of the Ring. So I guess all this talk about exclusivity is at least on Tubi is a lot of hooey. But or maybe it's Fox is like, "Oh, we don't give a shit. We don't give a shit." If you search WWE on Tubi, AEW does not come up, but if you search AEW, both NXT and Evolve do. Evolve debuted on the service in March 2025. Yes, and that was supposed to, you remember, again, like this was supposed to dig into, because the first run for Evolve is on Wednesday nights, right? And this was supposed to dig into Dynamite's ratings, if you remember correctly, how that was supposed to go. Depending on where they live, fans can now watch archive AEW content on HBO Max with a subscription, My AEW with a subscription, or Tubi. Tubi was a key part of the MLW antitrust lawsuit against WWE, where it was claimed that Stephanie McMahon contacted the broadcaster to get a nearly completed deal between Tubi and MLW canceled. The two sides eventually settled for $20 million, and Kurt Bauer has been spending it since. Look, I mean, this is extremely interesting, and I will make this very clear. You know, I think it surprised everyone. It just sort of came out of nowhere. Excuse me. That today, suddenly, people were like, "Oh yeah, look, we can actually watch some old Dynamites here." Look, I don't think there's much really to lean into it. I think the model of fast channels is very simply, look, let's get as much content as we can in there for as low a price as possible, so we can push as many ads as possible. I think that's the model for these things. There is so much content on stuff like Tubi and Pluto and stuff like that, fast channels like that. It doesn't really. I don't think like non-compete stuff or exclusivity is the term I was looking for. Exclusivity contracts and whatnot, they don't mean shit. Like, who cares? Especially considering that Tubi is owned by Fox, and the WWE relationship with Fox, well, you know, didn't end particularly, you know, with smiling faces. And no matter how brave a face WWE put up when they were leaving Fox, you know, they didn't leave on the best. They didn't leave with the best of intentions, right? So it's just like more and more stuff, just as much stuff as you can put on. And if AEW was able to get on there, good for them. Excuse me. It's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of interesting that a promotion that is dying, right? That is dying because Paramount is going to be buying up Warner Bros. Discovery. I think it's very interesting that a dying promotion was able to secure a spot on a growing fast network like this, right? Don't you find that fascinating, Chad? I think it's pretty interesting. Because AEW is not going to be around for long. I hope you all realize this. It's on its way out because of the Paramount deal. You know, there's not going to be a solid place for them to land. It's just done. You know, all these other relationships that AEW is creating is, they're going to be worthless down the road. You know, it created My AEW because they needed a place to broadcast Dynamite and stuff when they get canceled off of every other network. I hope you all realize that these are the reasons. You all realize that this is what's going on here. it's just another sign that they're dying. I mean, look, it's not an earth-shaking deal. I think it's interesting that no one talked about it. I'm really curious as to why. But one thing at a time. It's not an earth-shaking deal. This is not like the perfect solution. Look, it's another place to consume AEW. Just put it out there. People who just want to check it out. Well, now they'll have an opportunity to do it. Old fans or fans right now who want to check out old episodes. Well, it's very easy in the US to do it. Now you kind of see why my AEW was deployed the way it was. Because my AEW has its own fast channel, but I believe that the fast channel is not available in the United States. Now we know why. Because this deal was coming, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, chat. But, I know there's not a lot of things available on the My AEW app in the United States, and I think the fast channel is also, or I might be wrong. I usually don't watch my AEW.com in the United States. So I don't know for sure. But it seems to me like the fast channel that comes with AEW, my AEW is not available, and this is probably why, because Tubi had its Tubi was ready to go, was just very, very excited for it. So the fast channel can be accessed, but the archive's not. Okay, okay. Well, then scratch that. I thought the fast channel was not available in the US. Guess not. But look, I think overall this is cool. It's this is still a sign of interest. It's growth. It's it'll be like I said, it's not a mind-blowing it's not a mind-blowing situation here. It won't be the deal to end all deals. It's probably very minimal, but interesting nonetheless. But like I said, I wonder why nothing was announced. Like, this is exactly the kind of thing that Tony Khan would be throwing out the press releases, talking about, strategic partnerships and all that. This is literally a shadow drop. This is what this was. I'd like to know the terms. I'd like to know what this is kind of like, how many years, and what kind of content, what kind of, will there be any additions to the content, that kind of stuff. I guess a lot of people will be able to ask Tony himself at the Forbidden Door, the Forbidden Door media call, which will be in a couple of weeks. Because we don't, look, the details are nowhere. There's nothing. But it's still interesting. It's still very interesting. I would like to know what the details are. So, to be continued, as I often say here. Hey, Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I need a Mr. Warren Hayes Show fast channel. No. No, you don't. Oh, it's so over. Everyone said it was over. Poor AEW. RIP. I think the networks are smartening up that jumping through hoops for WWE isn't worth the hassle. You'd think. You would assume. But year after year, they're still there. You would assume, but year after year, there are still buffoons who are ready to just shell out as much money as possible. Like, every time there's a new contract up, billions of dollars then get thrown around for this shit. I don't know. I don't know. This could be a soft open tease to butter up for a possible Fox AEW deal. I mean, yeah. Foot's in the door for real this time. Tubi has a surprising amount of users, so it's smart to put your backlog on there. I enjoy the Tubi stuff. I enjoy that. I enjoy that in YouTube quite a bit. I usually put on like the Scooby-Doo channel on Tubi. Play the old Where Are You shows, which are the ones I grew up with. Those are my favorites. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's keep this one going. AEW. Hey. You wanted some fun news? AEW is reportedly set to sign new talent in the coming months, folks. Another article from the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online that reads, according to a report from Fightful Select on Saturday, the promotion will be adding quote unquote nationally televised talent to its roster this summer. The report did not add any future details. WWE's post-WrestleMania 42 roster cuts will officially become free agents later this summer after their 90-day non-compete windows expire. Wrestlers who have been speculated to draw interest from AEW include Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, as well as Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns. Yeah. This is absolutely the New Day they're talking about, right? Because then you've got the Jacksons, right, going on about how they just love a new day. Every day is a new day, and so on and so forth. The Jacksons are the Jacksons are not being subtle. It's going to be the New Day. Just as much as I would love to have Sabin and Shelley get in there with the New Day, with the Bucks, with FTR, with Davis and Doyle, or the Murder Machines. Why and the Murder Machines, and just like give us and the Rascals, just like a completely re-energized, revitalized tag team division in AEW would absolutely rock. That would be absolutely tremendous. I still think that getting the New Day in AEW is a great idea. I am completely for it. And it might end up being completely different once they do join and they start doing things and I'm like, this was a mistake, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be I think those two guys joining the company is going to be excellent news. I think they're going to be refreshed. They're going to be revitalized. They're going to try other stuff. The only thing that's going to hold them back is their WWE reflexes. That's the only thing that has the potential to hold them back. Plus, there's a lot of people that work for AEW who used to work for WWE back when the New Day was there, and even back when the New Day were a big deal. So I'm, done right, this could be excellent, and I'm very optimistic about it. And I think, look, as much as I like the Motor City Machine Guns, the New Day is the bigger get. The New Day is absolutely the bigger get. So, the teases have begun, right? might show up. Signing this summer. Would they fly them over to Wembley to get the big pop? Would they bring them in at Redemption over in Montreal? We'll have to again. This is all to be continued, but also very exciting stuff. This is fun. We're going to get an AEW Survival of the Fittest match, and we're going to have some qualifiers for it, and we're going to have some competitors qualifying for it. So kind of a mini tournament to get into the match. Don't hate the idea. Of course, this is for the vacant TBS champion. Let's read this article from Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online. Qualifiers for the Survival of the Fittest will begin soon, and now we know of some of the participants. On Saturday, Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, Mina Shirakawa, Harley Cameron, Zeta Steel, and Queen Aminata all made their claim to be in the upcoming qualifying matches. The winners of these matches will advance to the multi-person Survival of the Fittest elimination match for the vacant TBS title that will take place on the July 1st edition of Dynamite in San Diego. Hooray, Canada Day. Shida and Statlander have history, recently competing in a lights-out street fight that saw Statlander emerge as the winner. Both Shirakawa and Cameron have had dealt with Shida in the weeks leading to her betrayal of Statlander at Double or Nothing, which led to the match that took place last month. Of course, Willow Nightingale had to suddenly vacate the TBS title shortly before Double or Nothing when Willow Nightingale was when she was injured, essentially. Nightingale was also supposed to take part in the Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Instead, Mercedes Moné took her place and advanced to the semifinals on Wednesday after defeating Alex Windsor. This is very cool. I like this. Good crop of ladies. I don't know if this is a complete, the complete field. Maybe not. If you wanted to do a couple of surprises and introduce some new folks, like a Danny Luna. I don't know what we're waiting on. This would be a good moment to do it. If you wanted to, bring back Kaylee Ray, who did her first post WWE match over there in Pro Wrestling Eve just a couple of days ago. That would be great. Look, Kaylee Ray, tremendous wrestler. I think this is another person who has that could easily fit in on the AEW roster. But I'm looking at this here. I said what I meant when I said bring back. I mean bring her back to North America. That's what I meant, because bring her back to the new continent, to the new world. But as it stands right now, look at all this. I'm like, just belt up Queen Aminata. Let's just finally do it. Let Queen Aminata beat the piss out of all these other wrestlers and give her the belt. Look, I will always be very, very high on Queen Aminata. And if you watched her in Deadlock Pro, you know what I'm talking about. She's so incredibly good and violent and crisp. She's not afraid to dish it out. She's not afraid to take it as well. I've always thought that the AEW version of her was always just a little on the soft side. It wasn't exactly the Deadlock Pro version of Aminata. And look, if they just wanted to let her go, uncork her, and let her do what she's really capable of doing best, we'd be in for a treat. And then it's like, yeah, absolutely, the belt is yours. Take this championship, go for it. I would be thrilled, quite frankly. But I'm looking Hikaru Shida in this, and I'm like, you want to bet that this is what they're gonna do. And I'm not into it. But you want to bet that this is very likely what they're going to do. They're going to allow Shida to get her win back on Statlander throughout this. And then she's going to win the belt. She's going to win the belt down the road. I'm like, not Shida. And I know, like, I already know I'm the outlier on this. I know not a lot of people agree with me. Every time I talk about Shida, being washed and just not being what she was and whiffing spots, I always have people coming in to defend her every single time. Every single time. And I don't know why. I feel like it's obvious. I feel like Shida is one of these wrestlers where it's extremely obvious that she's not at the heights that she once was, because the talent pool, first of all, was a lot more shallow. And she's just like, she's just lost so much luster, and she feels like she feels like from a completely different era of AEW that has just passed her by. There's so many other women in this division that could be in this spot instead of her. I don't know. But look, my early prediction right now is that they're going to belt up Shida. Because somehow she still has a lot of fans and a lot of support. But like I said, I think most people are going to, I think most people are cling on to a version of Shida that exists in their mind as opposed to existing in reality, right? It's like, oh well, look, it's fine. It is what it is. But it's just crazy. Like, it's crazy to me that this division has someone like Queen Aminata in it, and we're completely passing her by for some reason. I don't know what it's going to take for Tony to just wake up and let her go. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot more upside to trying something out with Queen Aminata than going back to old hat Hikaru Shida, in my opinion. Anyway, that's just me. But I like this layout. I like this little setup. I like that it's not going to be a focus on the pay-per-view, that it's going to be something settled on TBS on Wednesday nights, as just like a TV title should, right? Works for me. I think it's good. But we'll see how it goes. Shida proves that AEW women's wrestling fans will handle the WWE women's division for their fifis. Yes. Yes. That's not a good thing. I can't unhear Tony Schiavone saying Shida and Mina were displaying excellent Japanese style pro wrestling. Look, does Tony Schiavone really remember like Miko Satomura being in WCW for a cup of coffee like in the mid 90s? He doesn't. He really doesn't. He doesn't remember this stuff. God bless him, It's on the show after Forbidden Door because everyone will have focus on it. Plus, it avoids the pitfall of the post PPV Dynamite. Exactly. It's going to be fine. It's actually a very good idea to put it there. I'm all for it. All right, folks. Let's wrap it up talking about the best of Super Juniors 33. And the big winner, the man who won the tournament this year. Yes, it is Yo. who is your Best of Super Juniors 33 champion. He defeated last year's tournament winner Kosei Fujita in a rematch of last year's tournament on Sunday in Oda City. After the match, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Doki made his way to the ring. As Yo and Doki were staring each other down, Sho attacked Yo from behind because of course, and Doki joined in the attack, but Yo gave them both low blows and cleared the ring. Yo then brought out Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano to celebrate with him as the show came to a close. Well, those are the cliff notes. And now, Warren, what did you think? Oh God, I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about the final first. I actually liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I believe I went with my dopey little system here. I think I went 3. Let me pull it up here just to make sure. I think I went not 3, but 4.25 stars. And let me tracking. 4.25 is what I did. Yeah. 4.25 star for Yo versus Kosei Fujita in a match that, that I was disappointed was going to be the final again this year. Like, I'm not a Yo fan. I'm not, I think I am one of those who has added his voice to the chorus of send this guy to DDT pronto. He will be so happy in DDT. He will thrive in DDT. He will find an entirely new audience who will adore him in DDT. And most importantly, I won't have to watch him wrestle again. I don't have a problem with DDT. It is not for me. Like, that is a promotion that is decidedly not for Warren Hayes. So it's okay if you enjoy it, and I don't judge you for it. There's a crowd for that. And that crowd does not include this guy. Just like Yo has a crowd. There's a crowd for him. And that crowd does not include this guy. I can't stand him. To me, he's just a comedy guy. And I don't see why we were so hell-bent on making him a Best of Super Juniors winner this year. And winning his first and so on and so on. I don't I really don't understand. I don't understand what he brings to the table. I don't know why there's so much interest. The match itself, look, undeniably super duper hot. An extremely hot match. Right? And there's no two ways of cutting it. It was that crowd, that Oda City crowd was eating this match up. And they were eating up all of the tribute moves that Yo was doing, calling up all of his old Chaos pals that were all looking out for him, back in the day. He's swinging Rainmakers. He's doing bum ayes. He's doing the crucifix bomb thing that Yoshihashi does, Ushiguroshis. He's doing it all to the delight of the crowd. It's really getting the crowd invested. But it's also the same thing he did last year. It's the same match that he had last year, where he was calling towards the strengths of his chaos brethren, I guess, but he was unsuccessful. This year, he was successful. He was successful because he was throwing all sorts of moves from other people into his arsenal. But here's the thing. It worked. It worked because the crowd was red hot for it. And I got caught up in it. I was like, okay, this is pretty neat. Especially when Kosei Fujita, after eating a couple of Rainmakers, was like, well, fuck you, dude. And he lands one of his own. I was like, okay, good. That's awesome. But Fujita didn't turn around and start Fujita didn't turn around and start doing, patented Zack Sabre. Like he didn't start doing, the Zack driver or the I can't forget which. There's one of his submission moves has a dopey name. Well, they all have dopey names, but the Clarky Cat. That's the one. That's the one I was thinking of. The Clarky Cat. He wasn't going around doing Clarky Cats to Yo. He wasn't doing the grip. He wasn't doing the turbo pack and all this shit, right? It was like they put all of this together, and ultimately, like, the guy who legitimately I found this year was clearly carrying the junior division on his back was being taken out by another guy who was just stealing moves from Okada, from Nakamura, from Hiroki Goto, and so on and so forth, just being a tribute act. So there's something in me that goes, this sucks. But you can't deny the results. The match was really good, and it was interesting how Fujita reacted and how he worked with some of these moves that were being landed, that were being offered up to him. It was really good. It was an excellent match that had a great pace. It was extremely well worked. It was kind of worked like I felt like it. Outside of the moveset, my main criticism of this match was that it was worked like a heavyweight match as opposed to a junior heavyweight match. Like there was no signature speed or high flying things or stuff that, or, elaborate snappy ground games that really define junior heavyweight wrestling. It was wrestled like a heavyweight main event, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. But, in retrospect, I'm like, and then it makes me wonder how much more I would have enjoyed this match had it not been for all of these shenanigans sort of bogging it down and distracting me from enjoying the match. And as much as I wanted to sort of cross my arms and say, of course he's doing Rainmakers. As much as I wanted to do that, the match still managed to reel me back in. Still managed to make it exciting and feel good. I was really into it. I thought it was particularly good. Excellent even. But look, again, it's the same match as last year with the same opponents. Different result. Not sure I like the result. I really don't want to see a House of Torture match with Yo as the babyface because he's just going to play into it. And it already stinks. And then if he becomes junior heavyweight champion, it's not any better than Doki. It's not any better than House of Torture guys, I should say. Because Doki is legitimately a great pro wrestler. He's another guy who's going to get bogged down by House of Torture nonsense. Anyway, it's a really good main event, despite all my caveats, despite the fact, I feel like I'm only complaining about the match. But I feel like I'm only bitching about the match, but really I'm not. It really had some great, it really had some really great highs, and the crowd just like completely behind Yo because, and I understand it because all throughout the tournament, Kosei Fujita, as opposed to last year where he felt like the up and comer and the guy who was overcoming everything and he had, he was fresh faced and all of that. This year, Fujita came across as a bit of a dick. He was very cocky, very arrogant, wouldn't shake people's hands, wouldn't show any respect to anyone, just blew everyone off that he defeated. It's no surprise that the Oda City crowd was behind Yo, because quite frankly, Fujita was a bit of a cocky prick. Like, he was absolutely channeling some channeling some mid 2010s Zack Sabre Jr. on this one. Absolutely 100%. And he's got a submission game going. Fujita was just tremendous with this. He's landing German suplexes and he's reversing out of stuff from Yo and Yo as well. But Yo was just able to land all of the big chaos moves. That's essentially it, right? Fujita, like, at some point, like I said, he's like, he eats some rainmakers and he's done. He's fed up about it, so he responds with a rainmaker of his own and gives him a big thudding headbutt and lands the abandoned hope. But Yo kicks out and the crowd gets unglued. The Chaos tribute stuff was supposed to feel exciting and heartwarming, with all the callbacks to the group, the lineage, the brotherhood, and the crowd buys every second of it. But, watching Yo cycle through other people's signatures while sitting on a toolbox of his own offense, well, it's a legitimate question. But at the same time, it's the clearest path that Yo is on. He kind of half-asses it, and instead of working on this toolbox that he has, his own stuff, he just goes around and depends on, he just goes around and highlights the moves of all sorts of other guys instead of relying on what he brings to the table. And I think that's a sign. A lot of people talk about Yo, and it's like, well, it's Yo. He doesn't care anymore. He half-asses it. Well, that kind of felt what it was too. It's a very weird one, because I still think it was awesome. But the signs are clear. They're very much there. As for the tournament itself, or an overall paintbrush of the thing, if you recall when I started covering the tournament on stream, I was very excited. I thought this was extremely good, that things were very, very exciting, that the nonsense that was happening on these matches was short, like ridiculously short, like 3 to 5 minutes, and get the House of Torture stuff out of you and whatnot. And then we focused on wrestling. And then you had like some nice stuff. Adding Jun Kasai to this tournament was so much fun, because he brought, the man is not only a legend, but like, he's so charismatic and he's got such a great energy. He felt special in this tournament. He brought something very different to this Best of Super Juniors this year, to the point where I'm like, he should be here every year type of thing. But I think things were really off to a great start. And then for some peculiar reason, I'd say around night 5, it's as if everyone just stopped trying. Except for a couple of people. Everything just felt like a slog and uninteresting. And then everyone started to do shtick. Or practically everyone. We've got the for those of you with the benefit of video right now, we have the list of people, the field of contenders, right? Of people who would do who were in the tournament. And you have some people you look at this and you're like, well, there are some people who do shtick. There's quite a few of them, in fact. You got two guys of House of Torture, right? You've got Kanemaru, you got Sho in this. You have Yo, who also partakes in the nonsense. So you're like, that's not so bad, Warren. Well, hang on a second. Then you got Daisuke Sasaki, who's another one of these guys who just like cheats and does nonsense. And you got Ryusuke Taguchi, who was also partaking in this. I mean, he's a comedy wrestler. Plus, there was a very big rumor that he injured his back early in the tournament, so he wasn't taking any big bumps. He wasn't really working. He was there to just like goof off. Then you had Jacob Austin Young, who would cheat with the House of Torture with Zane J, excuse me. And Hayo was out there. Was out there with his stuff leopard, who eventually in the tournament gets kidnapped by Sho. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? That's 7 guys in this tournament. And most of them are all concentrated in Block B on top of that. But still 7 guys who all have to get their bits in. And then Kushida decides to do bits. Where, he does a match on night 1. A great match with Robbie Eagles, by the way. To kick off the tournament. And he decides to wrestle barefoot. I think it's night 1 or night 2, but early on in the tournament. And he takes his socks off. He takes his boots off, but then the socks become a shtick. Then he's like, first of all, being barefoot he wrestles barefoot for the rest of the tournament. And then sometimes he uses the sock as the mandible claw, for fucking, Mankind, a tribute to Mick Foley type of thing. And I'm like, that's like 8 people in this tournament that all have to do like fucking nonsense. There are nights where I was watching this tournament and I was frustrated because all I wanted to see was pro wrestling. And I was getting goofy nonsense. I'm like, can't we just have a tournament with pro wrestlers instead of whiskey mist, instead of wrenches being thrown around, instead of low blows at every given opportunity, instead of guys cheating, jumping up on the apron to distract the refs and ref bumps and all of this fucking nonsense. There is literally a wall to this tournament right around night 5 where I'm like, this actually is starting to stink. And the tournament nosedived. It was not as good as the first few nights made it out to be. Everyone was into it and everything felt good. But the more things went on, it was just all about everyone getting their fucking bits in instead of just flat out wrestling. Right? Hayo had to run around like a cat, like a leopard. He had to run around like that. Daisuke Sasaki had to be nonchalant and don't care and use chairs and whatnot. Now, listen, when you get to Jun Kasai in every one of his matches tried to add some deathmatch elements to it, right? He'd have the skewers. Towards the end, he started pulling out the hypodermic needles, which was kind of wild. But it's also Jun Kasai. And it's also done in a way to just add like spice as opposed to overcome a match with nonsense. It was done with much more interest, much more depth than just, your regular run-of-the-mill interference. I was like, well, no, this is part of this guy's personality, right? So when Taguchi ends up fighting Jun Kasai, and I use fighting very, very liberally because there wasn't much wrestling in that match. Well, Taguchi comes out and he's got a tiny little step ladder, right? And he does a whole spot where he wants to do a dive off of the step ladder and then gets the young boys to come in to hold the ladder and all this stuff. I'm like, just give me wrestling. Just give me some fucking wrestling. I don't think I'm asking for too much. So it's a shame. It's a shame. Because there was a lot of fucking great talent here that managed to shine in its own matches, but especially when it came to Block B. Block B Knights, brothers and sisters, and everyone else, they were awful to watch. At some point, I was like, oh, Jesus, not again. It's not as if there weren't any bright spots here. You know, it's not as if there weren't any great matches. Here, let me pull out my notes here. Like probably my favorite match of the tournament was Master Wato versus Kosei Fujita on night 5, which was incredible. I gave it 4.5 stars. Then you got Jun Kasai versus Kosei Fujita on night 3. El Desperado versus Robbie Eagles on night 3 as well. Robbie X versus Kosei Fujita. Titan versus Kosei Fujita. By the way, are you seeing a trend here? Kosei Fujita worked most... Kosei Fujita worked most of the main events or the semi-main events. And this is a guy who knew exactly what he was doing in this tournament. He took it upon himself to carry the division on his back during this tournament. He's like, I'm the guy. I am the guy. I am the ace of this division. And there is no question. El Desperado, which is another guy you could say, oh, well, no, he's the El Desperado did fine. But Fujita wrestled like he had something, like he was staking a claim, not like something to prove. Like he was staking a claim, saying, this is my division now. I am the guy. And I fucking loved it. I have 8 4-star plus matches given to Kosei Fujita throughout this tournament. He's the MVP. He's the best wrestler of the tournament. He was every time it was time for one of his matches, I was delighted. Chad is talking about his match with Daiki Nagai, the young boy, the young lion. It was like 8 minutes, but such a fantastic, incredible 8 minutes, just running through the guy, and Nagai fighting back. Nagai lost all of his matches in this tournament. But all of his matches were a blast. All of them. He was fighting with young lion energy. If you've watched New Japan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So he was into it. Like he was giving it his all every time, despite every match being a losing effort. And every match he tried to end it with the diving headbutt, and not a single time was he able to even connect with the move, much less finish the match with it. Anyway, Kosei Fujita. Any doubters that were around saying, "Oh no, this guy, we're not sure if he's going to be the next big junior." He is in this division right now. He shines above them all. Absolutely. He is so fucking good, and he is still stupid young. If this tournament had happened, finished, I should say, before I cast my ballot for the 30 under 30, I would have bumped him higher on my ballot. He was absolutely tremendous throughout this entire fucking tournament. Absolutely remarkable. Daiki Nagai was a great standout. I thought Robbie Eagle was impeccable, but Robbie Eagles, everyone knows he's great. That's the thing. Robbie Eagles is quite possibly, I think it's quite, here's the take. I think he's the most underrated professional wrestler working for a major company in the world right now. I think he's the most underrated guy. Because here's another guy. When he made it to the finals, or to the semifinals, I should say, I was like, yeah, let's give it to Robbie Eagles. Let's go. Beat Vegeta this year. That's fine. It's a good little story in TMDK and whatnot, and that's good. And then go face whoever else in terms. Unfortunately, win a great match. Just like, that's what I was looking forward to. Win the tournament in a great match. I don't know why we're sitting around on Robbie Eagles so much. I don't know what this company doesn't just let him go. I don't know. Not let him go as in go off somewhere, but just like let him rise to the occasion, because he can. He is such a good wrestler. He is so good at this. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, hey, how'd Nick Wayne do? Nick Wayne was fine. I think he did better than overall, maybe than last year, but I can't quite remember his tournament last year. I think his back half was much better than the start. I think the back half of Nick Wayne's tournament was much, much better. The thing that was a little, the thing that sort of killed it is that when we finally got to night 12, the last night of block competition, he was in a match with, who was he wrestling? Was it Fujita, or who was he wrestling on night 12? And I've got it here. Don't worry, I got it. He was wrestling Master Wato, excuse me. Good match, excellent match, by the way. This is very, very good, and probably Nick's match of the tournament too. But the thing is that Nick could not advance at this point. I don't think that we're talking about it too much on commentary to sort of remove the interest from the match, but this was the main event. And the main event was essentially, the results were, if Master Wato wins, he advances. If he doesn't, well, I think it was Francesco Akira that was moving forward. But Nick Wayne, regardless of the result, he wasn't moving forward. He had been eliminated the night before. So it's like, okay. Well, I'm not quite sure what this is. It took away a bit of the excitement, with Nick Wayne just being a spoiler essentially. Anyway, Wato went over him. Like I said, he did fine, but look, it's like I said early on in the tournament. He came off of an injury. These were his first matches post injury. He probably, still, it's throwing him into the den of wolves very quickly with his return from injury, where it's just like, okay, you're on tour now. Go do this grueling tournament. Okay. It's all right. But I'd like him to do it again next year. Because I feel like this year he was better. I feel like his tournament this year, the 33, was better than his appearance in 32. And I'd be really interested to see him in 34 next year. I really do hope he does it again. Other standouts, we talked about Daiki Nagai, who was fantastic. Jun Kasai, who should be a member of the New Japan roster. God, he has an energy and a presence and just a spark that is so fucking needed on this entire roster, just to keep things alive. Robbie X, I thought, had a good tournament, and he completely won over the Japanese crowd. The Japanese audience love Robbie X. Absolutely love him. Desperado was fine, but he's had better tournaments, better matches. Robbie Eagles was good too. Titan was excellent. Hey, you know, speaking of underrated guys, I think Titan is like underappreciated. And you know what? Valiente Jr., huge disappointment. Valiente Jr. was a tremendous disappointment. And I don't know what it was. Was it a clash of styles? Was it nerves? I couldn't tell you exactly what the gimmick was, because his match with Nick Wayne was a lot of fun. And everyone else, there were rumors that he had injured his leg early on, but I still think it was a work to protect Taguchi's back. I don't think he really did injure himself. But I thought he had a very, very, very ordinary tournament. Not a lot of good matches here. Warren, who was the worst wrestler of the tournament? I'm glad you asked. If I take a look at my notes here, and I look at my ratings, my average ratings, star ratings, of course. The worst wrestler of the tournament was Sho. To no one's surprise. Before him, Taguchi. Before him, Jacob Austin Young. Before that, Kanemaru. And before him, Valiente Jr. tied with Hayo. Those are my bottom wrestlers of the tournament. And who are my top 5? Kosi Fujita at number 1. Nick Wayne at number 2. Robbie X at number 3. Titan at number 4. And El Desperado at number 5. All based on the ratings. So, overall, yes, if we wrap this one up, great start to this tournament. One that had me rubbing my hands together going, the juniors are going to save this company. And then night 5 in, I'd say night 5, night 6, something like that. Everything just started to spiral. Everything just started being really heavy-handed and dull and frustrating. Good final matches, like the semifinals were good. Final was excellent. Like, they were all excellent. But we end up with Yo being winner of the Best of Super Juniors 33, and I can't endorse that. I don't know. It's not for me. New Japan continues making baffling decisions. So now this upcoming weekend is Dominion, the big show of the summer for New Japan. We're probably going to get Doki and I'm assuming we're going to get Doki and Yo on that. Plus, we're also getting Callum Newman versus Yota Tsuji 2. At least the second match that involves the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So we'll see. We'll preview that. We'll preview that card on the Thursday stream, and I will very likely be reviewing it then this weekend as well. So buckle up, fans. We got all sorts of content coming your way. And there we go. That's enough. Enough's enough. We're good. We're good. That's the stream, folks. We're done for today. On this Monday, on this June the 8th. Mr. Warren Hayes is just a wrestling fan standing in front of New Japan asking for some wrestling. That's all. Robbie Eagles isn't the type of wrestler I usually gravitate to, and I think he's awesome. Oh, he's tremendous. He's so good. He's so good at all the little things in pro wrestling on top of that. He's just he's terrific. No wonder he's trained most of the Australian people, right? He's so good. He's incredible at what he does. Anyway. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming in, for joining us on this beautiful Monday evening. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I will be back on Thursday to talk more professional wrestling with you, to get more stuff out of there. But in the meantime, before that, Mr. Warren Hayes Show on Wednesday and the Dynamite Review on Thursday before the stream. Holy hot tamale. Thursday. So I will bid you adieu on that one. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, but a good week as well. We'll reconvene to wrap up the week, just like we always do. So there you have it. That's all. That's all I got to say. I'll see you next time. Thank you.